Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing Fallout New Vegas. Well, at least I've been playing Fallout New Vegas in my spare time, trying to achieve this target that JoJo9069 set out for me. Now his original idea was to do melee only, speed run through a Fallout New Vegas. Although we changed it after I'd spoken to him, we made it to a hardcore mode, melee only speedrun. And this is the result. We are using Axel Strong and that beautiful moustache right here in New Vegas. So here is a closer look of our Fallout New Vegas hero, legend, Axel Strong. So there is Axel Strong's special stats. Notice the 1 in intelligence. Unfortunately, he wasn't gifted in that area. I picked melee weapons, unarmed and survival for the 3 skills. Heavy-handed, and I think hoarder it was for the 2 traits. To be honest, they didn't really matter to me. Anything that would equal more points in strength and damage output with melee weapons was the only one I was going for. So a quick stop off in Good Springs to sell all of the added crap. Not sure whether I was allowed to do that, but hey, I did it. And I also had an issue with trying to shoot the 3 sarsaparilla bottles outside the Prosthetic Saloon because you can't shoot them with a cleaver. So Sunny Smiles was left standing there till the end of the game. So anyway, it was on to the journey. A pleasant journey to New Vegas' Strip. We met up with some thugs and bad guys and convicts in Prim. We went into Prim, kicked ass, kicked more ass, and saved Deputy Beagle.
I don't suppose you came here to rescue me.
Next I went over to the NCR Correctional Facility because we needed someone to take over Prim as the sheriff. I personally thought this was imperative to the quest, but upon reflection it has absolutely zero meaning. But I already started helping the convicts and the powder gangers, so I thought, hell, why not? Might as well make it a little bit more interesting. He sent me over to speak to this travelling merchant who was just standing there. He was actually a bounty hunter, which we took care of pretty promptly. I accidentally drank some Nuka-Cola Quantum and my whole screen went bright white and blue. Killed a few NCR troopers as they attacked the NCR Correctional Facility. This is your first look at the combat, and you're going to see how bloody difficult it is when you're fighting like 6-7 people. It is just constant left mouse clicking all the way through. So thank you, Joe. Probably taking a good couple of years off my mouse because of you. So old Eddie, hiding behind the table, scared shitless. Although I did help him and gained absolutely nothing from it, I gained a valuable lesson. And that is to not walk in the middle of the wild when there are death claws reaping the land. Almost killed myself jumping off a ledge. As we get closer to the Strip, you will notice it gets even harder as we go along to try and survive. Seems everywhere you go to, someone is trying to kill you. Regardless if your name is Axel Strong, you still get targeted with lasers, insects attack. We are closing in on the Strip, on New Vegas' finest place. Not out of the woods yet though. First you have to go through Freeside. I wanted to speak to this vagrant, but unfortunately a thug had other plans and tried to attack me with a Starlight Razor when I'm wielding a cleaver. He tried to run away, which his attempts was futile. He perished. Old Ben in Fallout New Vegas, he gave me a bit of advice, and that was never ignore these funky robots, because that happens. Securitron kicks ass. Unfortunately I only had 900 caps, so I was not able to pass the credit check, and that therefore means we need some serious caps. Headed over to speak to Francine Garrett. She gave me a lead on 3 people that owed her money. Poor old Grex, he did offer to give me the money, but he still met his own fate. Lady Jane was utterly useless. I wanted to collect the debt, but she was pants and didn't help at all. And I couldn't find Santiago, so balls to them. It was not time for a new job. My new role, dealt with a drunkard. Dealt with a gambler. Dealt with another gambler, who turned out to be an absolute arsehole and attempted to kill us. Which Simon and I absolutely devastated. Gained another assignment as I wandered back into the wastes. Met up with a lovely lady called Mrs. Hostella. Met up with a strange man, and once we concluded business, we were off on our ways. Went back over to Vangraph to earn me pennies. Submitted to the credit check. And finally, we meet up with Benny, the man who put us in a grave at the beginning of the game, if you weren't aware already. For some reason, I trusted Benny, the man who put me in a grave just a couple of hours beforehand. I went to his room, had a nice somber visit from a couple of guys, so I decided to return the favour with my own Starlight Razor. So I was stumbling around to try and figure out how to find Benny, because actually at this point I'd never actually done this route where Benny makes a fool of you, and bumped into the old yes man. Asked him where old Benny is, and Vulps Inculta approaches me at the door of the Tops Casino and tells me I've been given the mark. The mark for Caesar. Caesar, if you will. Nipped over to Vault 38 to go and speak to Mr. House. He wasn't very friendly, didn't fill me with confidence, didn't fill me with pride, but he insisted I signed a contract to deliver a certain platinum chip, and ordered me to go to Fortification Hill to enter an old bunker with the Lucky 38 logo upon it, and apparently I would receive instructions furthermore. I headed over to Cottonwood Cove and bumped into old Caesar for the very first time. He was rather friendly and rather respectful for barbarians, and ultimately Caesar gave me an ultimatum to remove Mr. House and whatever it is what we're going to find in this area, or team up with Mr. House and face the consequences from the Legion. So we arrived at the Lucky 38 bunker, threatened Mr. House, which was somewhat foolish because he didn't respond very well to threats. I decided to tell Mr. House that I am going to side with the Legion and Caesar. Threatened again that if I thwart him it would definitely be my comeuppance, but I did not care. I had a tire iron in hand, and I was whacking the shit out of a protection. Also came to a little issue with the melee-only side of this, because to damage the power regulators, melee weapons would not work. I had to use some sort of weapon. And in this case, I used the plasma rifle to shoot twice, and maybe 3 times because I had pretty bad aim in some of them. But this is the only part of the game that I actually used a gun. As you can see, I'm having an absolutely torrid time trying to get out of this bloody room. It was horrendous after all them laser bullets just keep hitting me and whacking me. Take as many Sunset Sarsaparillas, Super Stimpaks, normal Stimpaks, you can name it. I was determined to get out of this bunker to see my hero, Caesar. Bopped over to Mr. House, went to see how he's doing. He flung out of there like nobody's friggin' business. Decided to give him a good old finish off with a cleaver. Returned back to Caesar to let him know that Mr. House was a late Mr. House. A house that would cease to be. Caesar ordered me to go to the boomers now. Attempted to make my way over there with their bombardment of artillery, which was absolute bloody bizarre. Crippling injuries, fear, and just sheer chaos and panic as those hurling shells kept coming towards me. Death number 1. And then an attempt at flying. Death number 2 upon us. As we get absolutely ragdolled around this house. But we ultimately made it. We made it to Nellis Air Force Base, and it was time to meet Aunt Pearl. Didn't really care for Aunt Pearl's attitude, so Aunt Pearl kicked the bucket. Seen Jack. And apparently I done him a great service, so I have no idea what the hell he's going on about that. And killed a guy called Loyal, who was loyal to the end. Brotherhood of Steel on our sight next. Target numero uno to remove. Killed an NCR Ranger to try and gain their trust. Stole Head Scribe's keycard. Bobbed over Head Paladin Harden. Pinched his keycard too. Elder keycard in my pocket. Thanks Elder McNamara. And it was time to initiate self-destruct. I actually died quite a lot of times on this, I'm not going to lie. And I removed all of these because otherwise it would just be a 20-minute compilation of me dying. And I don't think that's fun for anyone. This video is already long enough. And it's going to be even longer. And then I had to go over to Vault 34, and this was the point of the game where I was really beginning to hate doing this playthrough. Because I didn't have the Stimpaks, I didn't have the weaponry, I didn't have the armour. And trying to fight these golden geckos was just friggin' unbelievable. So they're finally arriving in the clinic. I knew it was around here somewhere because obviously it had to be. Found the broken Mark III auto dock and tried to get the hell out of there. Was greeted by more golden geckos along the way, and it was just frigging annoying. Ghouls, golden geckos, you name it, and you're trying to just hit them with this frigging cleaver of mine, or broad machete, or whatever the hell it is.
I thank you for saving my life.
I saved Caesar's life, dabbed on him, then it was off to Hoover Dam, to blend in with the other NCR soldiers, become one with the crew. Until I seen President Crimble and decided to pull out the sledgehammer, the Super Sledge, which I picked up from the Brotherhood of Steel, but I never actually used until now. And this is hilarious, trying to actually get President Crimble here, because if you watch, he dies whilst loading into the vertibird, so it counted. It looks like he's going to fly away, but he actually died, so Arizona Killer, I got the achievement. And I dispatched President Kimball with real skill, right under the noses. Thank you, Caesar. I don't know what to say. And finally, it was time for the ultimate battle. The Battle of Hoover Dam. Taken to them. And this is a beautiful super sledge. Look at it decimate. This was the best fun I had of this game, of this entire run. Using the super sledge against these NCR troopers was phenomenal. I think even my own teammates got a whack of the super sledge because it was just so bloody good. I was so impressed with the super sledge. If I ever do a melee only build, I'd probably rather doing it on normal mode and not hardcore. But this super sledge was a beast. So we finally made our way and pushed through to speak to General Lee Oliver. And the only way to get him to step down would to have 100 speech, and Axel Strong doesn't have 100 speech. So Axel Strong is going to have to decimate him. So I continued to push my way through. Going upstairs into the second floor with a lot of traps was an absolute pain in the arse. I think I quick saved and quick loaded maybe 20 times. The countless deaths I had. Or I'd get to the end and realise I'd have no health, or I'd be fully crippled. But now, the final battle. General Lee Oliver and his NCR gang, the heavy troopers, against one thick, angry man, Axel Strong. General Lee Oliver went down pretty quickly, to be fair. He didn't really give much resistance. It was the others that were just an absolute frigging pain. Got addicted to Med-X during the fight. Took as many stim packs as humanely possible. And just kept whacking with that super sledge. It never let up. And again, I'm going to mention, thank you Joe, to the mouse clicks that I had to endure over this playthrough. I don't think I've ever clicked a mouse this much in probably my entire life. Good job, Joe. Good job. The battle between these guys though with the power armor was no joke. It took a long time. But ultimately we finally defeated the last one. Spoke to Legate Linnaeus, I don't know how to pronounce it, and we finally did it. We achieved greatness. We achieved the goal, the fan challenge, the melee only hardcore mode. The speedrun, yes, I guess it technically got neglected somewhat, because I made a lot of silly mistakes, and I'm not a speedrunner. But at least tried my best to try and get through it as quickly as possible. So around 7.5 hours, which is by no means a speed run, is it? That concludes my Fallout New Vegas melee only hardcore mode / speed run of Fallout New Vegas. So guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. It took me a long ass time to make, a long ass time to record and edit. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Don't hesitate to leave me a challenge down below. So guys, thank you very much for watching as always. Please like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed, and I shall see you next time. Ciao for now.